We were listening to the sixth juz, and the beginning of the sixth juz, 1/4 or so is Surah Nisa, and then the final 3/4 is Surah Al-Ma'idah. And Surah Al-Ma'idah, the Mufassirun have mentioned that it was revealed during the farewell Hajj. And there are many lessons that we can get from it. There are many themes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about. And in this Surah Ma'idah, Allah eloquently goes from topic to topic. You barely can tell when He goes from topic to topic. In English, you can see it's kind of jerky, but in the Arabic language, it just flows. He talks about the rules of Hajj. He talks about wudu. He talks about tayammum and ghusl. He talks about what we can eat and what we can't eat, who we can marry and who we can't marry. But one of the major themes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala references in Surah Al-Ma'idah is about the people of the book, the Jews, and in particular the Christians. And He talks about Isa alayhi salam and his mother Maryam alayhi salam. And this is the lesson that I would like you all to take home tonight, inshallah, first and foremost for me, because it is a ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that this happened, and then the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam contemplated on it for our benefit. In the last ayahs of Surah Al-Ma'idah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala privies us to a conversation with Him, Allah, and Isa alayhi salam on the Day of Judgment. And in Surah Al-Ma'idah, at the end in ayah 116, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وإذ قال الله يا عيسى ابن مريم. And Allah will say, O Isa, O Jesus, son of Mary, أأنت قلت للناس, did you say to the people, اتخذوني وأمي إلهين من دون الله? Did you say to the people to take me and my mother as gods rather than Allah? Meaning Jesus alayhi salam and his mother Maryam as ilah other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Isa alayhi salam responds in ayah 116, but then he responds in 117 like this: مَا قُلْتُ لَهُمْ إِلَّا مَا أَمَرْتَنِي بِهِ. I only told them what you commanded me. أَنِ اعْبُدُ اللَّهَ رَبِّي وَرَبَّكُمْ. That you shall worship God, my Lord and your Lord. And Allah inspires Isa alayhi salam in ayah 118 to say these words. And it shows the hope that Isa alayhi salam has for his ummah, for his community. And Isa will say, إِن تُعَذِّبُهُمْ فَإِنَّهُمْ عِبَادُكَ. If you punish them, they are your servants. وَإِن تَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ فَإِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ. But if you forgive them, you are the mighty, the wise. Ibn al-Qayyim mentions the use, when Sheikh Junaid started this Khatera, he mentioned that no word can be substituted ever for it to have it. There's no word that can ever be substituted. He mentioned La Raiba in his first Khatera, and he talked about Shak. It can't be substituted. Similarly here, the words Aziz and Hakim are selectively put. Because you could say Ghafur Rahim, that He is all forgiving, all merciful. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says Aziz because Ghafur is not fitting for this passage. We're not talking about Allah being all forgiving, all merciful here. What we're talking about is Aziz, and when we talk about Aziz as the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's yes, He is all powerful. Yes, He has the power to do whatever He wants. But it also means that He has the right to exact vengeance from someone. He has the right to do it. Not just that He has the power to do it, but He also has the right to do it. You know, when I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, and a lot of times we say you're wrong and you're strong, right? So you can be strong and you're wrong. But here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is right, and He has the power to exact that revenge. And Al-Hakim, He is most wise, because He knows what they did, what they changed, what they substituted, how they fabricated the religion, council after council, groups of people. And He mentions this in the surah. Al-Hakim, He knows exactly what they did. This ayah 118 in the tafsir of Ibn Kathir rahimahullah mentions in a hadith narrated by Abu Dhar in the Musnad of Imam Ahmad, where Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam will repeat this ayah over and over and over again all night. And he would cry and he would weep and he would cry. So much so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends Jibreel alayhi salam to ask him, why are you crying? Why are you weeping? Allahumma ummati, ummati, Allahumma ummati. That's all he can think about, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, is my ummah, my ummah. And Allah, Jibreel rises and he tells Allah, Allah already knows, Allahu alam, He knows. And He sends Jibreel and He says to him, go back and tell Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam that that we will please him soon in his concern for his people, and He will not let him be unhappy for us. He will not let him be unhappy. In another narration, Abu Dhar mentions as well, where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions that he was given the intercession for us, in this same line of hadith. And I will leave you with this. Anas bin Malik narrates in a hadith that Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, once he said, I wish I could meet my brothers. I wish I could meet my brothers. And the companion said, Ya Rasulullah, aren't we your brothers? He said, no, you are my companions. My brothers, as well as my sisters, my brothers are the ones who will believe in me, but yet they have never seen me. And He has this concern for us, that He weeps at night. And this is a ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on us, and a blessing of our Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam as well. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He makes us from amongst the brothers of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and the ones that He will intercede for on the Day of Judgment. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Let me grab it. I'm going to say one comment, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. He inspired me, so I thought I'll share something. He mentioned the names of Allah Azza wa Jal, Al-Aziz, Al-Hakim, and I recalled a story, and he mentioned how I said, كُلُّ كَلِمَةٍ عَاشِقَةٌ لِمَحَلِّهَا. You cannot take any word of the Quran and put anything else. Yes or no? So there was a Bedouin man. He doesn't know Quran. He's not a scholar, but he knows Arabic. He understands Arabic. And so one of the scholars was reciting the ayah, وَالسَّارِقُ وَالسَّارِقَةُ فَقَطَعُوا أَيْدِيَهُمَا جَزَاءً بِمَا كَسَبَا. I read it, or I'm going to read it, or I think I read it already. The punishment of the one who steals. What is it? Cutting off the hand. And so the scholar, of course, people make mistakes naturally. So he ended the ayah, فَقَطَعُوا أَيْدِيَهُمَا جَزَاءً بِمَا كَسَبَا نَكَالًا مِنَ اللَّهِ وَاللَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. And the Bedouin man, he said, لَيْسَ هَكَذا. He said, أنت شو تعرف? You're a Bedouin man, you only know camels and sheep. He said, what makes you think you know? He said, no, it doesn't work like this. And so he goes, he checks. He says, oh, Wallahu Azizun Hakim. Because how can you mention the punishment of cutting off of the hand and then mention Ghafur Rahim? Does it match? It doesn't match. But when you mention Al-Aziz, Al-Hakim, the one who overcomes and cannot be overtaken, Al-Hakim, that everything He does so is done out of a wisdom, then it makes sense. Everything in the Quran is perfectly placed. Why I'm mentioning this is because a few nights ago, when we were reading Taraweeh, a mistake had happened where we read the ayah of the leadership that men have in the household. And the ayah ends with إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلِيًّا كَبِيرًا. The Allah Azza wa Jal is the one on top. عَلِيًّا كَبِيرًا. And the ayah was ended, إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلِيمًا. The mistake was عَلِيمًا. And so, can عَلِيمًا be placed here? It cannot. Why? Because the ayah is reminding us as men that yes, Allah Azza wa Jal has given us the responsibility and the leadership in the household, but that does not mean we could abuse it. This does not mean we could take advantage. And Allah Azza wa Jal reminds us after that ayah, الرِّجَالُ قَوَّامُونَ عَلَى النِّسَاءِ, until the end, that no matter what, remember that Allah Azza wa Jal, He sees everything. He's on top of you. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلِيًّا كَبِيرًا. This is the beauty of the Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from Ahlul Quran. Inshallah.